tonight. This is it's a very humbling experience for me just to see, all these people coming out to support me and, the dreams. Everybody who know me, like I've been talking about politics and leadership and, fighting power.
Debates every day.
Yeah, debates. I debate for the fun of it, you know what I mean? So it's just a blessing to see everybody come out here today, man. It's just a long time. It's overdue, man. But if you want to see vulnerability personified, it's me in this moment right here. This day is a culmination of a lot of experiences, deferred dreams, tragedies, and triumphs. But the courage it takes to stand here right in this moment is not just for me. In fact, I hope that this courage finds you wherever you are and it liberates you from whatever's holding you back from pursuing your dreams. That business idea that will transform the world, or writing that book that will inspire thousands of people. You see, I found that small acts of bravery subconsciously unlocks pockets of destiny, not only for us as individuals, but also the people that we encounter. So I'm compelled to stand here in this moment for a plethora of reasons, but in my heart of hearts, I want to live in my community as our ancestors did, who made Juneteenth possible. So I remember, I'll tell y'all a little story. I remember when I first was made, when I first learned about the freedom fighters. So my grandmother came home with a box of cards one day. It was civil rights cards, freedom fighter cards, right? And so these cards had Nelson Mandela, Harriet Tubman, Huey P. Newton, all of the freedom fighters and icons. When I got the cards, I looked at them at first, and I was like, and I wish they were NFL cards or NBA cards or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Grandma, they was deep. But then my grandmother was like, let me tell you about your people and your history. And she told me about the Underground Railroad. She talked to me about the bombing in Birmingham, Alabama at the 16th Street Baptist Church. She told me about apartheid and Nelson Mandela in South Africa. After that conversation, I'm getting emotional because my grandma's not here to witness this moment, man. My grandma, man, I love my grandma so much, but anyway, after that moment, after that conversation, I knew who I was going to be, and I knew what I was going to be. I was going to be a fighter, just like the people that were on those cards. I felt so empowered. The next day I went to school. I was in elementary school at the time. I felt like Martin Luther King walking through those school doors. And I went to a predominantly black school, by the way, and I had a white teacher. So my teacher was like, hey, we had to have a pop quiz. Everybody take out your number 2 pencils. And I said, hold on for a second. I said, how you gonna give us a pop quiz and you don't give us the opportunity to study for this pop quiz? And she said, well, Mr. Jackson, that's exactly what a pop quiz is. You can just sit down. And so she said, well, before I give you guys a quiz, I'm gonna walk out and I gotta use the bathroom and I'll be right back and I'll issue the quiz. So when she walked out of the room, and I promise you this is a true story, I was in elementary school. I looked at my classmates and I stood up and I said, everybody listen up. My grandma told me exactly what this white lady is trying to do with us. She is trying to oppress us. We got to do what they did in Montgomery. Down in Montgomery, they had a bus boycott. We got a boycott. So everybody in my classroom was like, true. And they were like, okay, so what do we need to do, Brandon? I said, okay, everybody, when the teacher comes back, what we have to do is we just want to walk out of the classroom. Walk into the hallway as soon as she comes back, So the teacher came back in the room. She said, everybody get out their number 2 pencils. She started to pass out the test. And she got to me. She gave me the test. I looked at the test. I slammed it on the desk with my number 2 pencil, and I just pushed my chair back and got up, and I walked smooth out of the classroom. I got to the threshold of the door to see who was gonna follow me, who had my back. Every single student in that class had their head down taking that test. Even one of my close friends at the time, his name was Charles North, I'll never forget, he was like, "Hey BJ, you better get back in here, man. They call your mama." Because everybody knew that if Miss Jackson came up to the school, it was gonna be a bad day for me. Shout out to my mama back there, that's Miss Jackson. But yeah, so I got in trouble for disorderly conduct.
Quite a few things.
Quite a few things, and that's how just go. But, I may have been swift to jump into action, but that's what I'm about. I stood on principle, and I wanted to fight like my ancestors fought. But as we pay homage and celebrate the tremendous accomplishments of our ancestors, we must stay tethered to the truth and the harsh reality that lies before us. The reality is, Juneteenth wasn't the end of slavery. I'm gonna say that again. Juneteenth wasn't the end of slavery, but it was the genesis to liberation. In 2021, we still find ourselves negotiating the value of a black life with the American Republic. Our skin color is still seen as a weapon. There are still systemic issues that create economic, educational, and health disparities. And that makes me question the notion of freedom. Freedom is one of the few things in life that is binary. Freedom doesn't come in an assortment of colors. There's no middle ground or compromise to freedom. We either have it or we don't. And I hope that doesn't come across as unpatriotic or anti-American, because I'm an American. I was born an American, raised American. I love America. But I'm also aware of her history. I contend that true patriotism requires a perpetual evaluation of a country's institutions and ideals. How can you ever claim that you love someone or something and never push them to grow? What would your kids be like if you never challenged them? What would you be like if no one ever showed you your blind spots? Shouldn't you want the same for America? I feel the same way about my beloved Prince George's County. I love gorgeous Prince George's County. Shout out to Prince George's County.
Yeah.
We hang our hat on being the most affluent African American county in the country. This is an impressive feat. You can go into Wegmans and hear Sade Adu, John Coltrane. You can go into convenience stores and see skincare products and healthcare products that cater to you. Our little girls can look at the county executive and see themselves. To some that may seem trivial, but to others, inclusiveness is the difference between being a group of individuals in the area and a thriving community. I love this county. And it's for that reason precisely I would challenge your inadequacies. Although we may have some tremendous people doing some great things, our freedom is nominal at best. Pre-COVID, over 70% of our working force commuted outside of the county lines for work. Subsequently, we have some of the highest property tax in this country for lack of economic activity during the day. Our teachers are overworked and underpaid. See, so we got some teachers in the room. Shout out to my teachers. Our retail sector pales in comparison to our neighboring communities. Even when we present similar buying behavior patterns, or even more favorable buying behavior patterns as our neighbors. There's so many issues and challenges that we face in District 24 and District 6, and even Prince George's County as a whole. But I think the lion's share of our problems stem from economic independence or lack thereof. That's another reason why I called you guys here tonight.
I had a big announcement that I wanted to tell y'all, and I wanted y'all to be the first people to hear about it. I'm launching my exploratory committee because the people deserve an advocate. The people deserve action. The people deserve Branndon Action Jackson.
Yararo.
Y'all gotta love Mac over there, man. So I've been blessed to have some great opportunities in my life. I've been able to travel the world. I've worked in the public and the private sector. You know, I've learned from some of the best institutions in the world. I just want to bring my skill set back to my community. You know, we need people, we need advocates, we need people that are of the people to represent. You know, so at the end of the day, I'm just a guy from humble beginnings trying to play my part in pushing the needle forward. That same fight that was instilled in me as a kid that allowed me to make it out of the streets, I stand before you today in the DMV, willing and ready to fight for the people of Prince George's County. I just want to end with this little story. Remember, I was, in elementary school, and I was standing at the threshold of the door. It wasn't that the students didn't believe what I believed. Nobody wanted to take the test. Nobody did. I can guarantee you that. But they were scared to take action. And like deja vu, I'm standing in front of a crowd of people who have similar beliefs. And I just want to ask y'all a question. Will y'all take action with me? Thank you.